Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, Sioux Empire arts and entertainment lovers. Coming up, it's always fun catching up with saxophonist Joel Shotwell. Then later in the show, we talk about the art of burlesque and drag with the VeauxDevil Cabaret's Ginger St. James, Viola Velvet, and Stella Derriere. Plus, we'll tell you who gets this week's honorable mention, as well as choose another winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. What you are drinking, what you're drinking it out of, most likely determined by where you're listening, how you're listening, and even more so when you're listening. But lift it up high, and let's clink our glasses and mugs, etc., to the Sioux Falls Arts Council's new website, artssiouxfalls.org. That is artssiouxfalls.org. You can sign up for their artist directory, which I am a part of. You can apply for a micro grant. You can see what's coming up on their very vast calendar. And this is a cool thing now. You can find out where you can share your art with their local and digital venues for digital arts, literary arts, musical arts, performance arts, and visual arts. So here is to you, Sioux Falls Arts Council. Thank you for the new website, artssiouxfalls.org. The Weekend Eve Toast brought to you by The Sky in Tea. The Sky provides all caps fun, and that is best had with friends. Have fun playing darts, shooting pool, listening to great live music from local musicians. Have fun singing at karaoke. Make that live part your own, huh? Have fun testing your knowledge at trivia. Maybe you need some more room to hold a big company party, maybe a benefit of something. Well, the Sky's big back room fits the bill for you. So no matter what's going on at the Sky, it's local and it's lively. It's time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. We choose a winner each week, and this week we say congratulations to Chris Wilson. We will be in touch with you, Chris, to get you all set up with some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin-crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com. Honorable mention. What made Dave smile in this past week? Made him guffaw, chuckle, chortle? Oh, maybe shed a tear of joy, or maybe just go, that was really cool. Well, the really cool going out to a previous guest on this show, Haley Schmidt from Goodnight Theater Collective. Last Thursday, my love and I decided to go to Goodnight Theater Collective's production of God of Carnage. There's only 4 people in the cast. Well, Haley was sitting this one out. She's in a lot of the productions that they have, but she was being stage manager. That is until just a couple of days prior to opening night, she learned that they had a cast member that was not feeling so well, and she would be the one that's filling in for her. She learned it within 48 hours, quickly, efficiently, and in true Haley Schmidt style. Nailed it. Way to go, Haley Schmidt. You are a consummate professional, and this is also a thank you to any understudy in any production having to be ready to go at any time. Later in the hour, we learn about the VeauxDevil Cabaret. Coming up next, musician Joel Shotwell on the Dave Holly Hour.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
It's another Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversation on the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, my goodness, it's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment, and always great to have my friend Joel Shotwell on the other side of the table at the other microphone. How are you, sir?
I'm really good. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's just so much fun every time that we get together, and it's even more fun when you have a new album out. Everything 1,000 million times.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Joel Shotwell, Mr. Saxophone, it's your album, but I'm assuming that you had a collaboration of a few people that helped you put this together?
Yeah, I think there's 14 people on it.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah. So, and thank you for talking about it. You know, when you asked me to do this, you didn't know I had a new album, and it had just come out, so I don't mean to be like, let's all promote my thing. But
no, gladly, anytime. That's what this show's about.
I appreciate that. Yeah, there's 14 people on there, and I could name them all, but most people that know me probably know who a lot of those people are, and everyone on there is extremely talented, and I really, really wish that I could have just had more people on there, too. I have so many more talented friends that could have played on a number of things, but someday everyone is going to play on something.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I like to talk about on this show, and that it comes up with other people quite often too, is the incredible amount of talent that we have in our little city here. Do you see that as well, and are you surprised by it?
Yeah, I definitely see it. I recognize it because I get to be inside of a lot of those groups, and I'm not surprised because I know these people. And they're the smartest people I've ever met.
And playing with quite a few of them for a long time.
Yeah, and I've been playing with them for quite a long time. And I think when I moved back after going to school and studying and things like that, I didn't really realize. So I was surprised at first, but it was delightful because what it did is it pushed me to keep working. It was like, okay, now I'm back home. I still have a lot of work to do, and I have people that can do it with me, that I really feel like this sort of thing couldn't happen unless it was with people that I could trust to do it with.
Well, we're going to come back and talk about the album as well, but, I do have to say, I just saw you recently. You were playing in a quartet, and why don't you go ahead and give the name of it? I love this thing. When you were at Monk's.
You know what's funny is that... I can't remember the name of that group because it's
you guys change names so often.
Yeah, it's one of those things. What was it?
Something, not unabashed, but it was something and quartet.
I can find it. I can find it. I have it right here.
And it just, first of all, the name was fun. And of course, 3 out of the 4 that were playing that night, Carrie and I were headed down there to see U3. Because, well, you know, Ruben's been here and he brings food. But thank you for the new album.
No tacos today.
No tacos. And Al Burban's been on the show. So it's
Sweet.
like, oh, you know, the 3 of those guys, man, I don't know about this Alexander Olsen guy. And I had heard of him, but I had not seen him play. And he was on keys. That's hot.
Yeah.
It was hot jazz that night. And
It was.
I just, my heart was leaping because it was so damn good.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, and it was so moving. And unfortunately, we're old and had jobs we had to do the next
I
day.
hear you.
So we didn't get to stick around for a second set. But we did meet your parents, though, too.
Yeah, they
so,
like to come out and support. It's awesome.
And so life was good. And just thoroughly enjoyed that. So now I have to get Alexander Olsen on this show sometime.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, he's an incredible musician. He's a good brain, but he's really just, again, another person that can talk about anything, and he's smart, and he's thoughtful, and he'll teach you something every time you play with him or talk to him. That's what I really love about the community, is that everyone is so thoughtful. By the way, the name of that was Uncalculated Jazz Cooperative.
Uncalculated Jazz Cooperative. Okay, man, I just thought that was so cool that night. And like I said, absolutely just was digging the music.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, that group's more of a, it's just meant to be more energy. And
yeah, and you could certainly tell it. All right, so now we'll come back to the new album here. The title, Everything 1,000 Million Times.
Well, that's an interesting one because my daughter's here with us right now, just hanging out. But it's that the title came from basically she would go to bed and I'd put her down and or as she's going to bed we would say love you too and everything, or I love you so much, and then it turned into everything, and then we'd say everything 100 times, and then it turned into everything 1,000 million times, and I just thought like that kept echoing in my head. And then on the song, everything 1,000 million times, the melody of that just kind of came from a few times where she would kind of sing song it to me, and it just kind of stuck, and that tune kind of spawned from that. And if you listen to that tune in particular, you hear the representation in the music is supposed to be us telling each other everything 1,000 million times, and her drifting off into sleep into a dream world. So it turns into, like, there's 2 sections in the song. The first section is us putting her to bed, and then the second section is her drifting off to sleep in a dream. So that's kind of where that song came from.
So a little bit of heart in this one.
There's a little heart in there. Yeah. In fact, all the songs kind of came from a different, there's stories behind some of them, and some of them are just from meditations. But I feel like this music was the first time that I really wrote without any sort of, when I write for a jazz quintet, you have something in your head, and I'm trying to get away from that, but you have like, oh, quintet should do this. We have this specific type of form that we've used for 100 years. So this came from purely, I didn't want to use any sort of calculated theory. The theory came after, so that other people could play it. I just do it. It came from just pure meditation and just ideas. So.
All right. So you're a saxophonist, and you've got all these other friends that show up to play on your album, and you were just talking about, writing it. Take us through the process. I don't think many people understand, if you're a jazz person, saxophonist, and you've got the melody that you want to play on your horn, what do you have to put together for everybody else? And take us through what it takes for that melody to become a full song with everybody else jumping in at the right spots.
Yeah, without wasting everyone's time too. You people don't have 10 hours to sit with you and experiment usually, So yeah, the process is a lot of times it comes from me playing saxophone freely, and then coming up with melodies, experimenting, recording them, sometimes writing them down, or sitting at a piano or a bass or a guitar and coming up with chord progressions that way. But after I have a form down, or even part of a form, that's when I write it out. So then I can go to somebody like Andrew, who has played with me for many, many years, or any of the other musicians on here, and I can send them, the form and the sheet music, so that when they sit down and do their part, they're not guessing at what I'm thinking about. And sometimes I leave it pretty open, where I just give them chord structure.
Okay.
And sometimes especially, God bless Andrew for putting up with this, but like, I used to play bass. In some of these tunes, I had real specific bass lines, so I'd write those out, and he would play them. I only played bass on 2 of the tracks, mostly because they were really near and dear to me. Also because I was scrambling to get it done. But he played them. He can play them way better than I can. So if I can send him the parts that I'm thinking about, and also I can't really think about the bass without thinking about Andrew.
Oh,
because he's
very
that much
true.
part of me, and just like almost everyone on that record, I can't really think about most of the music. I can't think of writing without Jimmy on trumpet, right?
Oh.
It's like most of the
That's
melodies.
a given, isn't it?
It really is, and it explains like why a lot of people will stick together for a long time or come back together musically that way, because we've all grown together.
Right. So were tracks laid down different times and so forth, and then it was all produced together?
Yeah. So usually, like in a jazz record, you do it all live, because otherwise you're going to miss out on the communication. But this started as a COVID project, so it really couldn't happen live, and it wasn't going to be anything until I started doing. I got like 2 of them done. And I was like, you know what, this could work this way, and why not just keep trying? Because people were doing it, and they said they were enjoying it. So, some people recorded it at my house. Some people recorded it at their home studios. I had somebody do some percussion tracks down in Vermilion. Somebody in Chicago put down some electronic drums for me. Alex Olson was living in Denver when he did the keyboard parts for most of the stuff he's on. So this was a totally different process. I equate it to, it was more like painting, where I could kind of like step back and look at it and then adjust as I want. And then but everyone is painting, all the people involved were adding color to it, but I got to kind of like move their colors around. So I like engineered it and produced it in that way. And that was exciting and new and really cool, because I'm actually fascinated with painting and painters and visual artists, because it's such a foreign concept to me, because I'm terrible at that sort of stuff. But it fulfilled that need in my soul, I think, which is definitely there.
Okay, so when you were talking about being live and all together, then one of the things that people understand about jazz is the improvisation. So but yet you also said that you would give somebody chords, give them a progression, and say go to it.
Yeah.
What's it like when you produce that after getting it? And first of all, were you usually blown away and going, wow?
Oh yeah. Every time. In fact, like, so we didn't improvise all together on this, but all the parts that I played were usually the first or second take, because you just lose it. There's a lot of mistakes on here on my part. Most everyone else's is fine, but if you listen close, like, oh, there's a couple squeaks, but you can't take that out, because that's, if you're going after it, you're going to miss out on the feeling if you're worried about not making mistakes. But yeah, I can think of, every time I was with someone while they were recording, I mean, I was almost in tears, just in joy. I remember when Emmanuel came over and was playing the solo at the end of 527, and I just had to like refrain myself from just bursting out and like laughing in joy. Same with Alex when he came over and recorded a part after he was back. Jeff Paul did the keys on Everything 1,000 Million Times, and I just, like, as I'm listening to it, just blown away. I sent him the parts, but I mean, God knows if he looked at it, because he's the type of musician who can, it's almost better for him to just come in and do it. Like don't overthink it, just go, because he's so talented. So yeah, everyone kind of blew me away that way.
And did he wear a hat?
I think he took it off when he came inside because he's a
Okay.
gentleman.
Well, that he is. Very stylish one.
He
For
is.
those that have seen Jeff Ball, you know that we're talking about the fact he has great hats.
Good ones.
And yeah, good ones, nice quality, and they make someone like, well, me, very, very jealous every time I see him. But sometime we're going to get him on.
He'd be great.
I know he would be. I've tried to get him once before, but we'll just keep working on that.
Oh, yeah.
So give him a nudge for me.
I
would
will,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, I'd appreciate
Well, he just
that.
lives like 3 blocks that way, too.
Seriously.
Yep.
Oh my! Now I'm
So
really
now
going to
you
give him grief.
Just go to his house. I'll
yeah,
point it out.
I'll take my gear with me.
Yeah.
Here you go, Jeff. Let's talk. And let me see the hat collection too.
Yeah. Sit out on his porch and have a cigar and do a podcast.
Yeah. Well, you know what's cool is you talked about, you used the color and word, and I was about to bring that up. I was going to follow up your comment. And then I thought, no, Joel just said it, that it brings color, and you get to be like the painter and rearrange all the colors and so forth. But jazz people tend to be very colorful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it just, in order to do jazz, you really have to have a mindset of not, well, one thing that we know is that science has like done brain scans on people while they're improvising, and we know that they shut off their prefrontal cortex. So that already is, we're able to do that, which the prefrontal cortex is the thing that tells us what's right or wrong.
Right.
It tells us, should we or shouldn't we? Okay, so like in order for a jazz musician to do what they do, they have to be able to just not care and just go for it. Otherwise, you're going to sound like you're doing math, So it's a total.
What's it like when you find yourself in that groove?
In the zone?
Yeah.
It's time slows down, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Time slows down. It's like, it's hard to explain. I think it's the closest to being in the moment that you can get to. I like to think of myself as someone who studies like meditation and Buddhism and Eastern philosophy. And when I'm in that moment, I feel like that's the closest I will get. Like if I'm doing yoga or simply breathing, meditation, things like that, that's exercise. It's really hard for me. But when I'm playing with people and I'm in that moment, I think that's what that's about.
Do you have to, when it's your group and you're playing live, do you have to make a conscious decision as to when somebody's improvisation solo is over? Or is it really hard to sometimes just sit there and go, I could listen to this all night?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody else in the band, let's just go sit down and have a beer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's hard. Usually you kind of sense it when somebody's done, or they like clearly like look at you like, save me. Please help. Yeah. So sometimes it's hard to know. You have to have some sort of idea of what kind of flow you're going to have. Like personally, it's harder for me to know when I'm done because I don't want to tire out someone's, attention span or tire out my ideas. I'm trying to paint a cohesive picture. So I really try to like have a sense of that,
What's been your favorite part about being a jazz musician?
Probably just getting to know the people.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Ricardo, who owns our bar and now that beautiful restaurant downtown, Maribella, and he's been kind of a host for the Jazz Cats in town. But we were talking the other night just about the community that we have, that like I try my hardest not to take it for granted. And, when COVID happened, you realize like suddenly it's empty.
Yeah.
But some people live that way all the time. Or, even though they go to work and they go to church or whatever it is they do, they don't have the kind of community that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really substantial. And I try my hardest not to take that for granted. we care about each other a lot, and we help each other, and you would never have a better conversation than you would with the musicians in town that I'm friends with anyway.
Very true, because I've had conversations
Yeah,
with
because
quite
you've
a few
had
of them.
conversation with most of them, right?
Except Jeff Paul, of course.
We're going to go bug him.
Oh, man, are we ever. But speaking of jazz community, it was recently released that basically there is no more Sioux Falls Jazz and Blues Society. The money has been given over to some other places, and they will use them well, those funds, I'm sure. A little bit of me says, ouch. And a lot of other people probably even more so a big ouch. But I don't want them to forget what a great jazz community we do have.
Yeah.
All the players we have in town and the places that they're playing. And God bless Ricardo for giving you guys wonderful venues to do so. And any place else that'll, allow live music. And it's just so fantastic to see. But what are your feelings about, do you think we'll ever have a Jazz and Blues Society again?
Yeah, I hope so.
Something has to happen, doesn't it?
I would think so. Like, where there's a void, you'd think something would fill it.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe Levitt, I know Levitt wants to do some educational stuff, and that's the part of Sioux Falls Jazz and Blues Society that I was really bummed out about missing.
Right.
I mean, number one, because I was a part of that, a big part of it, but also because I think it was really substantial, camp and the Jazz Diversity Project. Like we reached, I want to say when they did the math, it was like 70,000 kids that we introduced to jazz and the history of the American art form. So that was the biggest bummer for me, but I would think so. Some people have just brought up to me like, wouldn't you want to do that? And I'm like, I'm not that type of person. I'm the last person you want at the helm of some organization. I can do music. That's about it. But yeah, it definitely was a bummer. And I think, it just hard times happened, and it's hard to like just get it back going unless you have the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And we just didn't have that person at the right time. I don't think so. With the people that were like the involved before did an excellent job, I thought. I always enjoyed working with that organization, but it's just hard to find people to fill those shoes.
Yeah, very true. No doubt about that. But I still think there will be something that'll come
I bet.
along, and because I don't know, but it like you said, a void.
Yeah, there's a void.
There's a void there now, but there's not a void in terms of the music that the jazz community is putting on. And so we have a base. We have that. And is there still going to be a jazz camp?
I hope so. I know that
they've been talking about it for Augie, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and Dr. Hannigan have been scheming, and I think we put in a proposal. And I'm not sure where that's left. That'll probably get brought up here soon. But I know that Levitt is possibly interested too. So I'm kind of like the type of person who I love teaching, and that's what I do. So I just go when they call me. It's like I go where they tell me. But I really hope that I'm pushing for if it doesn't get picked up by this or that we'll make something happen somehow. Because I love it, and I think kids really can. Some kids get a spark, and that's where the community starts to build. If you can build it with those young students too, like I've seen some really fantastic young people grow out of that.
Well, I remember 2 years ago, I volunteered for a month for Sioux Falls Jazz and Blues, and it happened to be the month that there was the jazz crawl, and there was also jazz camp going on. And jazz camp, for me, I just thought was spectacular because we talk so often on this show, and we've talked about it many times already today in terms of the amount of talent that's here. Well, we're normally, when we say that, we're talking about people that are after high school. And jazz camp, I believe that year had somebody either a 7th or 8th grade in it.
There was a 7th grader.
7th grader in it. So 7th through 12th. And you're seeing these kids work their tails off for a week and putting on a concert at the end of it. And I think one of the things that I just love so much about live music, for one thing, but especially for jazz, is when it gets cooking. And you see the joy on someone's face as they're performing, and it's like, that is a moment that is just so great to see. Not just the smiles, but also the fact that it's passion that you're catching at that time.
Absolutely. Right. And I don't ever expect, I've taught a lot of kids, and I think about this a lot, like what is the point of teaching? Am I trying to make every single kid a professional saxophone player or a professional jazz musician? And absolutely not. And those kids at that camp, most of them maybe won't even play in college. But the idea that they can see that when they work hard at something, like that is arguably meaningless. For some people would argue that music is meaningless.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, they would argue
they
that.
would.
Yeah.
For kids even, they would try to take it away. Or they'd say, this is more important than that. But when you see the idea of, we're going to do this because we can, and we can work hard and it feels good, that means way more. It is meaningless because the meaning, you can't even describe it, right? Like it means more than what other things mean.
Very true. In fact, we'll get a little nostalgic here. This is your first time in my studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've met other places to record before, but if you look up in that corner, that little shelf there,
yep.
That's the 1981 Louis Armstrong Jazz Award for Central Line High School in Rock Rapids, Iowa.
So you got the Louis Armstrong Jazz Award the year I was born. It was meant to be, Dave.
It was. No wonder we become friends.
That's awesome.
And, long ago, anything, because I grew up in a small town, so you were in sports, you were in music, you were in everything. And just a week before my high school band teacher passed away, I had a chance to see him in the hospital, and they had done some biopsies in his mouth that day, so he couldn't speak, but he could smile. And I told him, I said, Tom, I said, there's two things I want to tell you. First of all, anytime anybody ever finds out that I've been in radio, they always ask, what's your favorite music? And I said, it's never wavered. I always tell them the same thing. Good.
That's
because
exactly right.
You taught us how to appreciate music from different genres. I didn't grow up in the big band era, but I sure love the big band sound and things along that line. And then I said, the other thing is, the Letterman's jacket hasn't fit in about 30 years. And, any other medals from athletics, things along that line, long gone. Who knows what landfill they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I've got one thing that I will always keep, and that's my 1981 Louis Armstrong Jazz Award.
That's awesome.
And he smiled.
I bet he smiled. Yeah, I was going to say.
And that was the last dissolve.
That means a lot when you're a teacher. Like I said, I've seen students go on and do great music. I just saw a student over Christmas break play at our bar. He called me. He's like, I'm coming back from college. You think you can help me get a gig? And I was like, for sure. Played with a trio, and I just couldn't believe how amazing he was. But a week before that, I saw another former student he's going into bioengineering, and it warmed my heart just as much. It's like, as a teacher, that's what you want to do. You want them to remember that it feels good.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to sit down with you, my friend. Joel Shotwell's latest album, Everything 1,000 Million Times. His daughter was here while we recorded this as well. And so I'm guessing if we play, I must ask you then, this is your copyrighted music.
Yeah.
Yes, I have your express written permission.
Please do. Yeah.
Okay. And
thank you.
So before we get to our commercial break then, well, we always have to ask the two questions, and then we'll play Everything 1,000 Million Times.
Awesome.
All right. So when you're not part of the entertainment and arts scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
I love camping. I love golfing, which is weird because growing up I would never imagined I would like golf, but I love it because it's just it's humbling. And I love games. I like board games, like any kind of board game, really. So those are my passions outside of music and camping.
Right. Yeah. Any other hobbies?
Yeah, I paint like little minifigures for these games. So I have like, I don't know, a couple hundred just little guys that I paint.
Yeah, well, I would also add to that list, though, you do a fine job around a grill.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, we're going to do that this summer again.
We have to. That was great.
Yeah, I like to try to do that at least a few times every summer, so we'll have that happen again.
All right, sounds good, brother. In the meantime, let's listen to some great jazz. It's Joel Shotwell, along with a whole bunch of other friends, and Everything 1,000,000,000 Times.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Hawley.
Welcome back, everybody. You know what we like to say here. It's always a pleasure to talk Siouxland arts and entertainment around the Sioux Empire. Yes, we love it, and it's always fun when we get to talk about different types of art form. And we're going to be doing that today as we talk to the leads of the troupe of VeauxDevil Cabaret. Some burlesque, some drag, a lot of things we can throw in there, and we're going to be talking about it all as we have Ginger St. James. How are you, Ginger?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
Glad to hear that. Very well. Viola Velvet.
Good evening, Dave. How are you doing?
You know the answer. Always better anytime I see you. Yeah. And then Stella Derriere. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Glad to have all three of you along. First off, before we get into some of the events you guys have coming up, let's talk about the big award. Someone won.
The elephant.
Yes. The 2022 Pride Entertainer of the Year goes to
2023, yes.
Well, actually, it was for this year?
Yeah, it was for this year,
okay,
yep.
because I didn't know if it was like, you got awarded this year for all of last year.
Awarded this year for this year.
For this year, okay.
Yes.
Well, excellent then. So 2023 Entertainer of the Year for Pride, and it goes to Viola Velvet.
Yes.
All right, and it looked like there were big doings at Club David for this.
Yes, and then we had the victory brunch at Icon yesterday.
Victory brunch. Oh,
Yes.
that was fun, I bet.
Yeah, I had a very cursed idea for my third number because the new crown gets to do 3 numbers instead of 2.
Uh-huh.
And I was basically very sultry and ethereal and went down to a skin suit where I went full Gollum on my crown and hissed at the crowd. Thankfully, they enjoyed it. I was triple guessing it right before I hit the stage.
It was pretty epic.
Oh, we like epic.
I don't get to do a lot of comedy pieces because my niche is very classic and sultry.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. But
very much so, because I have seen you do burlesque, and you do it very, very well. You've been in a show that I helped produce a few years back, and then let's see, that I think we were just kind of starting to come out of COVID at that point, but
I think we were
people
trying
were
to,
still, a little let's hold back until things. So it's been a quiet few years, but man, every time I look at Facebook, I'm seeing something pop up for VeauxDevil Cabaret.
Yes.
And you've added a lot to it. So tell us how it all came together then, not just for the three of you, but to build on having a troupe then.
So it was actually Ginger's idea from Jump to build kind of a cabaret that encompassed drag and burlesque. We just kind of didn't really have performers for that yet. Then Stella and I started with the Falls Follies. They kind of did a wiggle and giggle and
body positivity, self-confidence type women empowerment specifically.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I kind of want to get around to in a bit too. But Ginger, what was your thoughts on this going into it then?
Well, I moved up here from New Orleans, and living here, I saw kind of a natural void for performance art. I mean, we had the drag shows, of course, but beyond that, a few comedy stylings, there wasn't much else. And I really wanted to bridge that gap with something that had a much larger creative drive and would sustain inclusivity in the community.
Okay. When did you start in drag?
I started, 5 years ago?
2018, yeah.
Yep.
Because you were doing it for a little over a year when I had my official debut.
Yeah, I started, initially, I was told that, and speaking to the inclusivity of matters, I was told that I wasn't pretty enough, and I was told that I wasn't queer enough, and I was just like, well, sit back and watch, because here we come.
I'm going to show you. Yeah, you've laid out the challenge for me now.
And so we had our first couple of live performances as VeauxDevil in 2020, right before shutdown.
Yeah.
And we took it virtual. And where I thought VeauxDevil was going to be in 5 years, we've been there since 2021 when we came back for live shows. We met so many wonderful performers all across the Midwest, all across the country. And a lot of them, when we started going back live on stage, a lot of them have come here to perform with us and have really helped solidify VeauxDevil as a family, as a cabaret. So we offer, not only drag and burlesque, but we offer pole, aerials, silks, and lyra, as well as comedians. Yeah. And we've got a lot more comedy.
Yeah, there's a lot that you have expanded upon. And, you mentioned the aerials. Circuit Perform, I remember just about a year ago, they were just starting, and I had them on the show, and it's like to see what they have done.
Yeah, they're
in
wonderful.
1 year's time. It's just absolutely amazing. Yeah, no doubt about that.
I get the honor of being a part of one of their events instead of the other way around soon. So,
excellent.
They've invited me to come perform fan dances for Swamp Daddy's Mardi Gras party.
Oh, how's that for a throwback?
Yeah.
Right? I'm very excited for it.
What got you into burlesque?
Well, actually, I've been obsessed with it my entire life. I definitely, what we hear from a lot of audience members, I was definitely there for a long time of I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not a good dancer, or I want to lose weight or be trim, because we always have this like kind of idealized version of ourselves. Then we met Pepper Dupree, and I found out she had been a burlesque performer for about 8 or 10 years. She's been doing this a long time. Yeah. And I begged her for about 2 years to teach me, because I thought that was the only way I could get on a stage, is having a burlesque mother and being trained in it. And she finally started the Wiggle and Giggle alongside Cherry Zap, and it kind of took off from there. Yeah.
All right, Stella, what's your background on this?
My background with VeauxDevil, I met Viola and Ginger at that Wiggle and Giggle event. And we did a few classes together, just learning super basic stuff, learning to love our bodies and ourselves, and obviously we vibed really well. So when we kind of finished those classes, we were like, who's going to throw on themselves on the stage? And I'm like, I'll do it. I've got a huge theater and dance background.
So it wasn't going to be any frightening part for you doing that.
It's still
then.
terrifying.
Every time.
I still feel like I'm going to vomit every time I step foot on the stage.
There's nothing quite like the, shake and shiver right before you walk out on stage. And it really becomes a matter of taking that fear and putting it to work for you. In our cases, I know that when we get up on that stage, we're ready to get out there. We're entering a whole world of our own creation.
True.
And so we kind of have to meditate for a moment and just hit that switch.
And then make sure that you stick to it, and then hopefully the audience is going to be in that same world.
Exactly.
Then.
Hopefully they receive it. Reception is very important, but it doesn't always hit the nail on the head. There's been a few times personally for me where I thought I had this great concept, and I went and tried to deliver it, and it fell on deaf ears, and I was just like, well, back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So let's talk about, you've talked a little bit about body image. You brought it up at least a couple of times. I think that has been one of the things that I have, because I'm somebody that used to weigh 420 pounds. And so I had terrible body image, a great part of my life. In fact, it was funny, my mother sent me a picture of me in high school when I only weighed 230 pounds. And I always thought I was the fat kid in high school. And I looked at that picture and said, wow, I wish I could look like that again. But it's because everybody says something about it at that point. And then if it continues into adulthood, pardon the language, is a real bitch to deal with.
Definitely. Yeah. Most definitely.
I can definitely relate to that. I have always been curvier, and it's just genetics. I'm German and Hispanic, so that is just, I'm thick. I've always been thick. I've always been curvier. And then when I hit adulthood, I had 4 children within 4 years. And so that took a huge toll on my body. And when I met them at that Wiggle and Giggle, I had just had my 3rd. And actually, just a few days before going on stage for the first time for burlesque, I had just found out I was pregnant with my fourth. So my body has changed, just ups and downs my whole life, but especially over these past 8 to 10 years now. But doing this and talking with other people, the crowd, fellow performers, producers, whoever, the best thing is to just put yourself out there, show people that different types of bodies can be sexy or stunning or whatever adjective you want to throw in front of it. Because all bodies are burlesque bodies and all bodies are beautiful.
That they are. No doubt about
Cheers to
that.
that.
And I think that was one of the things that hit me the first time that I saw Viola and a few other ladies here in town at a show that we were putting on. And it's just like, good for you. You know, it's so refreshing to see it, that somebody can go out no matter what size they might be and show that they want to be a performer.
It doesn't matter.
That they like to dance.
It really doesn't matter.
That they like to flaunt it and let the world know.
I love seeing the diversity of different bodies. I love seeing super thin performers, mid-sized performers, plus-size performers. I love seeing the variety. I love seeing tummies and thighs and breasts and booties. I love it.
It's like
all the jiggle. All the jiggle. Slap a tassel on anything.
Like whatever you got, I want to see it.
Yes.
Well, and what's great is then there's also disability burlesque.
Yes.
I haven't seen the show live yet, but having seen it on social media, and it's like fantastic, you know. But let's be honest, there's that thing called everybody out there in society that doesn't look at this all with a rose-covered glasses or anything. You know, we've had recently in the news, it's been that shouldn't be done for teens. It's not wholesome entertainment and so forth. When you hear that as feedback, what do you think? What are your opinions?
You want to start?
That's where I come in.
We got some pretty big opinions on that.
So while burlesque in its whole is not for every age range, specifically minors, with the stripping aspect, it doesn't necessarily negate burlesque performers as a whole. We are all fully capable, at least the people in our troupe and the people we have worked with are fully capable of presenting all age acts. We actually had a very big conversation about this recently. What we do on stage for an all ages performance is not what you would see at an adult only stage.
Mature audiences.
Right. We have the opportunity to be more salacious, show more skin. Yet again, what we do for all ages is not any different than the cheerleaders you saw at Super Bowl yesterday.
I was just
It's not any different than, the child dance competitions. I mean, they're more flexible than me. Not this one. She can do splits 5 months pregnant. So, but it's not that different. And it shows that not only are we inclusive, but it shows children that, hey, there are these adults that are capable of doing this, and we're all different sizes. We're all different colors. We're all different styles and abilities. And that shows them that they're capable of doing that too.
Absolutely.
That they have a place in this world, and that there are people that look like them or sound like them that they can look up to and aspire to be. I'm not saying like these children need to go out and become burlesque performers or drag queens. It just gives them that sense of hope that they are seen.
But part of that is just the fact that, at the same time, the message is be who you are.
Exactly.
Be who you are. And it comes down to time and place when it comes to especially burlesque. Time and place when we're performing at a bar for 21 plus adult entertainment.
Yes.
We can be salacious. We can be a little more sexy. But if we're going to perform an all-ages show or walk in a parade or something, I'm not going to do anything that I wouldn't do in front of my own children.
It's same.
Yeah.
And because we all have kids. So there's not anything that I wouldn't do in front of my teenager or even her toddler children.
Yeah, or think of, what they've seen at a PG-13.
Exactly.
Right. Or what you see at the beach or the swimming pool or the lake.
And place. face.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Great way to say it, Stella. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. So let's talk about VeauxDevil Cabaret then, besides just what it's become. And you're ahead of schedule, as you like to say, Viola.
Way ahead of
Yes,
schedule.
way ahead of
I
schedule.
can't believe how crazy this has been.
So this comes out this Thursday. And what do you have coming up? for
Actually,
some
on this
shows?
Thursday,
Yes.
so excited. This is our first year we're offering burlesque. So you come and sing it, we'd make it burlesque. We're trying to add more burlesque only events this year. Everything we do at Club David, which is our home venue, are full cabaret shows. That's where we have drag, burlesque, aerial, comedy, pole. But for things at like burlesque, it's just for our burlesque performers. And you will see all kinds of burlesque performers. You'll see draglesque. You'll see us femme performers. We've got some male performers coming in for it. Androgynous. So that is actually taking place the second to last Thursday every other month at Lucky's.
So it's
Club
not just
224.
this
Thursday. We
That's
have
good
it
because
every
this
other month.
Thursday I'm in a performance, so I can't make it, but I sing karaoke.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
that
would be
voice,
fun.
I bet you do.
And
Right?
I've got some show tunes I love.
Oh,
Yeah, my first go to is Mac the Knife.
Throw
Okay.
it at me.
Oh,
bring it on.
oh, the shark babe has such
Yes,
teeth,
that's like
dear.
really up our alley. We're very classic.
And then luck be a lady tonight.
Are you sure you're not coming this Thursday?
Well, I'm a little busy.
Yeah. So it's
So
very
second Thursday every other.
every other month. So
And this
we
is an
have
even
it-
month, so second Thursday of every even numbered month.
Yes.
Okay.
So our next one will be on 420.
Aha.
We are already letting people know to prepare for that one. So with that, we don't have a lineup. There's no set list whatsoever. Karaoke Queen Alyssa Damiata is our
yes.
KJ and
Yeah.
our MC. We have a dry erase board where there are sabotages on there for the singers, as well as they get to spin the wheel and pick a burlesque performer.
Oh.
And she
wow.
actually gets to pick which singers do it. So we have no idea what the songs
Right.
are as performers. We just bring two costumes
Well,
and
I
kind
already
of make
let
the
the
magic
cat out of the
happen.
bag for April now, didn't I? Yeah.
That's okay. We'll be promoting it
All
again
right.
soon. And then as a cabaret as a whole, last year this was Ginger's idea. So they do all of the creative side of things for the troupe. And we are doing our second annual Pussy Power show.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you have to edit that out. Sorry.
No,
Okay, cool.
I'll just put a little disclaimer.
Okay. So our Pussy Power show is about empowering women and showcasing women throughout art and history. We have Jenny Mack coming in to MC for us. We have several of our local performers coming. We have Priscilla Pincushion from Circa doing aerial silks. Alita Wendell coming to do
Some comedy. Yeah.
And we've hired two performers from out of state, one from St. Paul, Minneapolis area, Texas Tea Cakes. And then this one keeps gagging over is Coco Burlesque out of Chicago is joining us.
I mean,
She's so wonderful.
I'm
so wonderful.
You're not the only one gagging. I'm very, very, very excited to
Yes.
showcase.
I'm
that.
also like super stoked that she's spending 4 days with us. So she's not just here for the show. She'll be here for the whole weekend.
That's one of the best portions of when we have guest artists is just getting to actually know them, not just stepping on a stage
Yep.
with them, but actually
Getting to hang
sharing
out and share food and ideas.
life
and-
experience and
yeah.
ideas.
And then we also have Jennifer White, local legend, coming to
Oh,
live
yeah.
paint for it. Yeah, it's magical. Last year it was pure magic.
It
This
was-
year it's going to be even better.
Every time I have to go down to the White Wall Session Studios to
Mm-hmm.
look at something or do something, I look at her artwork and go, "It's incredible."
Yeah,
Watching her
she's
paint live is
fantastic.
unlike
Yeah.
anything
She
else
goes
I've ever
to
seen.
her
Yeah.
own little
Mhm.
world.
She
and it's
is in
ju-
a
it's
different world on that.
Beautiful to
Yeah.
watch. Like it's an act in and of itself.
It's
Yes.
almost a dance.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Oh my! I tell you what, that's going to be great. But I think is that on the 14th?
The
of
The
April?
11th of March.
Oh, 11th of March.
11th of
Oh,
March.
I might be able to make something.
Oh, well, we'll put
Yeah.
you on the list
Yeah.
to come enjoy it. So
Okay, excellent.
it's
yeah.
our $10 admission cover. Like we always do that for our Club David shows. But for this one, because it is a partial benefit show, It's $5 if the patron brings in a brand new feminine hygiene product with
Okay.
them. So they get half price, and then all the products get donated to the local women's shelters.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good stuff you're doing just besides the entertainment, the performance aspect, what you're giving back to the community and so forth, too. Any workshops coming up? I know that last year, SuperCon, you had some classes and so forth.
I did. I kind of went on a little bit of a hiatus last year. Things got really overwhelming during Pride Month. It was every day of every weekend performances.
Gets a little crazy.
So I kind of needed to take some time off. I did have a few classes, not just at SuperCon, but kind of around there. With Circa opening their own doors for South Dakota Aerial and Arts, they've invited me in to come and teach there. I just had my first intro to burlesque class. I will be doing another one soon in March, and then I will be starting my 5-week course.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's the opportunity for others to get involved. Like I said, not just for performance sake, but also, when it comes to being able to accept your own body.
Yep.
And, to also help out the community as you're doing good things and empowering women as well. So fun, and educational.
Yes.
And good service as well.
And I'm kind of a goofball teacher, so I say weird, random things. I like to say things out loud when we're touching and looking at our bodies that I actually say in my own head while I'm performing. I'm like, ooh, do you want to see this glove come off? Would you like to see the skin that's under here? Nope, you can't have that yet.
I think that's one of the most important aspects of your classes. A lot of the time, fans, people that come to the shows, patrons, they come up and they're just like, I can't believe you guys are doing this and you're so brave. And we didn't get here overnight.
Right.
Every one of us still has troubles that we work with every day. We still struggle to love our bodies every day. It's something that it just doesn't happen with the snap of a finger. We've worked on it for a long time, and we'd like to see other people working on it as well.
Yeah.
And our whole VeauxDevil troupe it's one big family. We work with over 52 people locally, regionally, some nationally, and that's our whole thing. Like, we actually all work together to create this environment of loving ourselves, loving each other, passing that love on, encouraging other people to do things, encouraging people to embrace their bodies and embrace their mental health, embrace their communities, and expanding on that.
We are a very big island of misfit toys, and
Yes.
I honestly wouldn't have it any other way.
I understand. Yeah, that's great. How do you describe burlesque? When somebody, because is there an actual written description anywhere?
There is on Google. You can definitely Google what you see at our shows. If you've seen the movie Burlesque, that is not what we do. Although we do have some performers that do sing and flings. That's where they sing as they're stripping. That is a talent in and of itself. Oh my goodness.
Working on it.
My favorite way to describe burlesque is that we are the theater kids of stripping, and we're all about body positivity.
Okay. I like that answer. And final questions that you each get, and we'll just go straight around the room then. So, Ginger, when you are not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Honestly, there's not really a moment in time where I'm not.
Okay.
Everything we do at the cabaret, the things I do for creative, as a drag queen, as a family member, as a friend, all of it really pertains to arts, entertainment, inclusivity, and body positivity. The job never really ends.
Yeah.
And your actual job is art related too. So,
but I mean, if I'm to speak very bluntly, very, very late at night when I have nothing else going on and the rest of the world is sleeping, I like to dip into games like The Last of Us and just get in there.
All right. Yeah. Any other type of hobby? Obviously not much time.
Not really, no.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I rock climb.
yes.
Fantastic.
I go
Yeah.
climbing about 4 days a week. We actually
Wow.
just had Climb with Pride night over at Frontier. it was a great turnout, and they're looking at doing that, I do believe, monthly now. So that
I think that's what Sam said. Sam, right?
Yep.
I've only been there twice with him, so I don't remember.
I'm actually
names.
very excited about that. A lot of what climbing has done for me in the very recent future is it's actually enabled a lot more body positivity in my own head. Not so much as far as how it looks, but what it's capable of. You know, when we're first getting there, it was daunting.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm climbing at some of the highest grades in the gym, and it's improved my mental acuity and my emotional acuity, and yeah.
All right, Viola.
Ooh, I also live in my whole life is art everything.
Well, then the hobbies question.
I don't,
Any
but my
hobbies?
hobbies are also my
That's
job.
all? Yeah.
Rhinestoning.
So, rhinestoning is a chore. We all know this. 3 weeks on that corn costume, you guys.
It was a lot.
It was so much work. So I am a professional seamstress by trade. That had started kind of as a hobby, but I've been sewing my whole life, and I've been running my own business for 13 years now. Burlesque performing, I've always been entertained by that. And even some of my things that I do love, like reading, which I don't have a lot of time for.
Right.
So now I've got Audible, and I listen to a lot of things and podcasts while I am working on concepts, designing, sewing. Even my horror fandom, I've turned into my burlesque and my sewing skills. Like,
All right.
yeah, it's very intertwined together. I don't think that there's any way to, at this point in my life, to differentiate anything.
No,
Like even travel is purposes for networking and performing, and
we eat, sleep, live, and breathe art.
yeah.
Stella?
I mean, same.
Same?
My muggle job is a very creative job as well.
Okay.
Any spare time I get is obviously with my family. So I spend a lot of time hanging out with little kids
Yeah.
and taking them to all the fun stuff around town.
And that would leave absolutely no time
Zero
for
time.
hobbies
Zero time.
then. Yeah.
4 children, burlesque, a
Oh,
job.
wow.
I'm booked.
That you are. Well, I'm glad that the three of you all had some time to spend to be on the show. Thank you.
Thank you
So,
for having
Ginger
us.
St. James, Viola Velvet, and Stella Derriere.
Yes.
And thankfully, autocorrect even got the little marks over on the R's. All right. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Joel Shotwell, also to Ginger St. James, Viola Velvet, and Stella Derriere. And of course, thank you for listening, downloading, sharing, following on social media, and your overall support of this show certainly is appreciated. If you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Automatically gets you entered for Pizza with a Podcaster. Now, for all 167 episodes, you can go online at DaveHollyHour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Art South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.